Hey, this is Devin. I've got a three-part video series for you on how to do DOM manipulation with JavaScript. If you're still hanging on to jQuery to do DOM manipulation, or if you've never tried any DOM manipulation and you want to see how it works, this is the video series for you. In this first video, I'm going to show you how to apply and remove classes and how to style a DOM element using JavaScript. As part of that, we're also going to be learning how to query the DOM so that you can select exactly the elements you want to work with. Let's go to the computer. We're going to work with my website here. I'm in Chrome. I have the developer tools open and I'm using the console. That's where we're going to be doing the DOM manipulation today. In general, this method won't be very practical to you, but any of the code we use here in the console, you can use in your JavaScript files that are loaded by your sites. We will start by manipulating some of the elements that are already on the page. The first thing I want to do is I want to change what this headline says. In order to do that, I'm first going to right-click and inspect it, so that I can find a way to select this element. It has a class, Elementor heading title. The way we're going to select this, first we're going to declare a variable. We'll call this headline. Now I'm going to select the element. And to do that, I'm going to use document.query selector. And actually, if I could also use query selector all, which would select all matching elements, but I only want this title, this top tagline. I think that's going to be the first one, so if I just use query selector, that should select only the first instance of this. And this is a class I've pasted in, so I need a dot to indicate that. Now let me see what I have. Looks like I've got a single element. If I hover over it, you'll see that it becomes highlighted on the page. Looks like we have the element we want. Now I'm going to change the text of that element. And this element will have a text content property, and I can just set that to whatever I want that text to be. And as soon as I execute that line of code, it changes the text on the left in the page. Let's just imagine I have a class I'd like to apply to this to add some additional styles to it, but I don't want to do that in the actual markup. Maybe I want to do that at some point when the user interacts with the page. I'm not going to actually demonstrate hooking into the user interaction because that's sort of a different topic. That's event listeners. But I will show you, once you've hooked into that user interaction, here is how you would add a class to this element. You do the element dot class list, and if I just look at that, I'm getting this thing. It's sort of like an array, but not quite. But it does have each of the classes. If I go back to that, which you can do by going through your history in the console using the up arrow, that'll take you back through everything you have executed before. Now I'm just going to add to it, and I'm going to say .add. That's a method of the class list. So now I need to pass in a string that is the class I want to add. I'm going to add main headline. Now we don't see anything because I actually don't have that class in my style sheets. I don't have any styles for that, but we can just look at our headline again and see that it has the new main headline class. Now later, maybe there's another user interaction and I want to take those styles away, take that class away. I can do that just by using the remove method. Now if I look at my headline again, it no longer has that main headline class. As you can probably tell, adding a class here doesn't really do anything for me. So maybe I want to just add some styles directly to this element. I have a couple of ways I can do this. I can use the style attribute, which then has an attribute for each CSS property. I could say color, and I could set that to red. I don't think I would want to. Let's do yellow so it's a little bit more visible at least. Now, maybe I also want to change the font size. I'm not sure what the font size is here, but let's try 3M. Oh yeah, much bigger. The other way you can add styles is to use the CSS text property on the style property. So we can do CSS text. And this will let me add multiple styles at the same time. The string you pass in here would be the same sort of string you would assign to a style attribute that you put on an element. So you have an element like this h2, you have h2 style equals, and then you have a string of some CSS. You can put that same string here and assign it to this attribute. Let's say we now want to go with a color that is light blue, and we want to drop it down to 2.5 em. Font size 2.5 em. Maybe we also want to add a bottom border, 2 pixels, yellow solid. Let's try that. You can see all the changes. It's a little bit smaller than it was before. The text is light blue, and it's got that yellow 2-pixel border underneath. That's all for this week. We're going to pick back up next week and learn how to reposition elements in the DOM. Also, we're going to learn how to create new elements in JavaScript and insert those into the DOM. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one. Thanks, and I'll see you then.